Hi everybody, this is your boy, the Cosmic Reader here, and today I'm going to give you my review on the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series from Disney+. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is one of the best original Disney Plus shows from Marvel Animation. And I say that because although I love X-Men 97 more, 97 is more a sequel to the original 90s X-Men cartoon. While Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man takes elements from Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man without thinking of Tom Holland's version, this cartoon stands great on its own. I've grown to love the animation in the show, given that it's a homage to the original art from Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr. in the Amazing Spider-Man comics. It's crazy to think about the character that people care about the most to truly replicate the art style of the original source material is Spider-Man. This show reminds me of other Spider-Man projects such as the Ultimate Spider-Man video game in 2005, which look exactly like the art style from the original Ultimate Comics by Mark Bagley. We also got the Spider-Verse movies, which that animation also tries to make themselves look like they came out of an original comic. Especially in Across the Spider-Verse, I love how almost every individual version of Spider-Man has their own unique art style to go with the character. So it's nice to see Marvel Animation continue that tradition with this show and paying homage to the original art that started it all. Despite them adding some sort of twist to Peter's original origin that we've gotten used to over the years, I love how they're still able to capture the spirit of the hero and the spirit of Spider-Man's world. Peter Parker / Spider-Man is a guy who always tries to do the right thing, despite how sometimes that gets in the way of his personal life. There's this old saying where if Spider-Man wins, Peter Parker loses. And if Peter Parker wins, Spider-Man loses. And some episodes of the series still show that is kind of the case for this version of Spider-Man. But I do like it when both Peter and Spider-Man do get a win once in a while. And I'm glad this version sometimes gets a win. Not always being late to meeting up with a friend, or not always being late to work or class. Here's the thing. Sure, Spider-Man struggling with his personal life has always been a part of his character, but in the case of the comics, sometimes the people in charge of the comics take it too far and give Peter a lot more suffering than he deserves. Which of course he doesn't deserve any suffering, but what I mean is that although a hero getting over his struggles is a great part of storytelling, sometimes they get a little too depressing for Peter. So I'm glad this show kind of tones that down a bit, because I always love it when Peter gets a win. And again, I love how they captured the spirit of the character so well. There's this scene in the early episodes of the show where Peter captures this criminal and he sees that she's only down on her luck and is just really desperate. So he ends up freeing her from his capture and decides to give her a second chance at life. And that is so Spider-Man, just being able to help a criminal find redemption whenever he can. And I wish more superhero projects were like that, and it's not always just punchy, gotta stop the bad guy, gotta unalive the bad guy. It just makes for more wholesome moments that I truly believe that most of the superhero genre is missing in the modern day right now. But I'm really glad it's here. Besides Spider-Man, my other favorite character in the series is Lonnie Lincoln. This character is also known as Tombstone, and I'm gonna say something that's probably really controversial, so bear with me. How they write Lonnie Lincoln in this series is the one thing that they do so much better than Spectacular Spider-Man. I know, don't attack me, Spectacular fans. Spectacular is still part of my top 3 of Spider-Man cartoons, but I'm just saying, if there's one thing this series does so much better than that cartoon, it has to be the way they written Lonnie Lincoln. The way they ended up showing how he becomes Tombstone in the series, in a way, is a much more realistic version than how we're used to seeing Tombstone. Because in real life, any type of kid can stumble into a group like the 110 Street Gang, even a talented kid like Lonnie Lincoln. And he did so at first just to protect his family. He is such a likable guy in the series. At first, you would think that he would be the typical jock bully that we usually get in Spider-Man media. But no, when we first see him, he's really nice to Peter. He wants to hang out with him and he buys Peter's lunch. even though that ended up giving him less money to pay for his own lunch. And it's so heartbreaking to see Lonnie throw away a possible bright future for the sake of keeping his family safe. Nico is also a nice new addition to the Spider-Man cast in this series. They were never really friends in the comics, but I do buy how their friendship is portrayed here. And I don't see that friendship turn into anything romantic in the future, no. But I am interested to see how her relationship with Harry Osborn develops in the course of the next 2 seasons. Though I don't believe we'll get your typical love triangle between Peter versus Harry and whatever girl they're interested in, like we do in other Spider-Man movies and TV shows. I do believe they'll do another twist to that dynamic, and it's just gonna be more that Peter might feel like the actual third wheel in this trio's relationship. And another interesting twist that this show brings to the table is that Peter Parker is not really responsible for Uncle Ben's death. Uncle Ben died during different circumstances, and the writers explained that they wanted to see Peter remember many of Uncle Ben's life lessons during the course of Peter's career as Spider-Man and also in life in general, and not just one particular big lesson like it usually is in the comics and almost everywhere else. And that is an interesting change that so far is working, because somehow, despite Peter not learning with great power comes great responsibility through the death of Uncle Ben, he still acts like the Peter Parker / Spider-Man that we all know and love. And this is not the first Spider-Man project that deviates from that element of Spider-Man. Of course, we all know that the MCU sort of deviated from that. And by the third film, it was actually Aunt May who taught Tom Holland's version, with great power comes great responsibility. But also in the reboot to the Ultimate Comics that released last year, Aunt May is of course dead, but it is not Peter's fault. Just like it's not Peter's fault for Uncle Ben in this series. And in the Ultimate Comics, Uncle Ben is the one who is still alive. And it's more in the comics that Peter, in a way, already learned responsibility through being a family man. So to me, it's just awesome that not only that anyone can wear the mask, which was the lesson that was taught in Into the Spider-Verse, but any version of Peter Parker, no matter how different they are, can still be recognizable as Spider-Man. Coleman Domingo is great as Norman Osborn, I gotta tell you. When I was watching this series with my father and we were learning how this Norman Osborn is like, how he doesn't seem like your typical evil corporate guy. My father is like, I want to trust Norman, but I don't know if I should because of the history we known from other versions of Norman Osborn, which is great because that was something the writers were going for, having you question whether this version would become the Norman we all know to hate or not. And I gotta say, props to the writers for that, because they did accomplish that goal. And all is that to say, Marvel Studios, please hire Coleman Domingo as the MCU's true version of Norman Osborn. I know in No Way Home they said that Oscorp doesn't exist, but maybe it just doesn't exist yet and Norman has not really established himself yet. So maybe, hopefully in the new trilogy, we get to see Oscorp develop themselves as this new big corporate company that sells weapons. Sort of like what people in the Marvel Universe missed when Tony Stark declared to not sell weapons anymore. It was great to see Tom Holland fight Willem Dafoe in No Way Home, but I do feel like Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man is missing a goblin, and I do feel like he kind of needs one. So please, Marvel, get to casting Coleman Domingo as your true Norman Osborn. And Marvel Studios, also hire your animated writers to write your scripts for your live-action movies. Hire Jeff Tremel to be the main scriptwriter for Tom Holland's next trilogy. Friendly Neighborhood and X-Men 97 have proven that they could do so much better with better writers, because these projects are doing so much better than most of Marvel's live-action projects as of late. So please, Marvel, get these guys more recognition and get them more work, because they deserve it. I cannot wait to see what this series has in store for the next season, and also the third season, which they also greenlit. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Subscribe to the Cosmic Reader and hit the notification bell so you can be notified for when I upload my next video. Give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and comment what is your favorite part of this series. Who's your favorite character? What do you hope to see in the next season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? And what did you think of this review? And if you want, go ahead and share this review with your friends who love superheroes and Spider-Man. With all that being said, this has been the Cosmic Reader, and I'll see you in the cosmos.